Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 86 of season 4. We're going to answer a question today. We're going to ask a question and answer it, and that is, where does Jesus live? Now, this podcast, one of its little features is that it's a chronological walk through the Gospels. And so that means we're walking through the events of Jesus' life. Now, the problem is the chronological events of Jesus' life are described in 4 different places. Now, some of them, all 4 Gospels will have an account of a particular event, but many of them, just one of them will have the event. So scholars have pieced together what actually is the chronological walk. And so when we last left our little story here about Jesus, we were in Luke chapter 4, and they had just tried to throw Jesus off a cliff. And why was that? Because he gave this prophecy that no man was going to be accepted in his hometown. And then they set about to prove it, because then he told them 2 stories about foreigners responding in faith and trusting in the Lord. And that was just so offensive that they tried to throw him off a cliff. And so then what happens? Well, it's a great question. Well, the answer is not in Luke. The next place this happens is in Matthew. So today we find ourselves in Matthew. So listen in here, and we'll find that he's going to leave Nazareth and go to a new place, Capernaum. So here it is. This is Matthew chapter 4, verse 12. 5 verses today. Now when he heard that John had been arrested, he withdrew into Galilee. So Galilee includes both Nazareth and Capernaum. And leaving Nazareth, because they tried to kill him, he went and lived in Capernaum. So where does Jesus live? The easy answer here is Capernaum. Now listen to its description. Capernaum by the sea, that's the Sea of Galilee, in the territory of Zebulun and Naphtali, so that was spoken by the prophet Isaiah might be fulfilled. The land of Zebulun, now he's quoting from Isaiah, quote, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali by the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan, that is on the west side of the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. And then it describes who's there. The people dwelling in darkness have seen a great light. For those dwelling in the region and shadow of death, on them a light has dawned. And from that time on, Jesus began to preach, saying, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So we're going to look at hometownness today. Where will be my hometown? Where is Jesus' center of operations going to be? And it's Capernaum. You can go there today. Peter's house is there. There's a temple there that Jesus certainly walked in and amidst and taught in. And the question of where is God's home is huge in the Bible. If you read the Old Testament, Jesus is, in the New Testament, Jesus is known by location a lot. It talks about him coming out of Egypt. It comes of him being from Bethlehem. That's where he was born. It comes from that he was a Nazarene, because that's where his parents' hometown was, and that he's a Galilean, which is the big region. And today we find out that he was kind of a Copernican person in the land of Zebulun and Naphtali. The place of God is very important. And the Old Testament is practically obsessed with the question of where is God? Well, he's in a cloud. He's in the pillar of fire. He's in the burning bush. And then he goes to an ark, which is a mobile center of God. And then he goes to this tent, this tabernacle that the Jews carry through the desert for 40 years. And then finally he settles down and is located in the temple. And Jesus has already sort of challenged that location. That's going to change. So imagine this. Imagine that Amazon said, hey, we're going to build a new fulfillment center, and it's going to mean thousands of jobs and a stable tax base and the pride of a city and better parks and better roads and everything. And you're in charge of the city. What would you give to have an Amazon fulfillment center headquartered in your city? Well, millions of dollars and tax write-offs and all kinds of stuff. So same question is, what would you give to have Jesus make your city his throne, his home, and his throne, I guess, yeah. Nazareth, nothing. They tried to throw him out. But Capernaum didn't get to decide and didn't get to bid on Jesus. Jesus chose Capernaum. And here's the thing is it comes with some benefits, but there's also costs to Jesus locating in your area. So there's notoriety, there's fame, there's purposes. He healed practically everybody. I think it says he healed everybody in Capernaum, so all good news. But the problem is, the cost side of it is, with greater exposure, with greater revelation comes greater responsibility. So the Capernaums are called to account for this extra exposure that he has. So they're more accountable because of more revelation, more proximity, and more light, and therefore their obligations and their actions should be increased. So they have an answerability or a liability for this exposure that they have. So it says here in the passage today that they change from the shadow of death into a place where the light has dawned, from a people dwelling in darkness to one of greater light. And what an honor is that? So think about this today. This is my home. Jesus saying, this is my home. These are my people, and I'm going to shine a greater light to this area. But the problem with that is it reveals stuff. So where is God's home? Well, John couldn't help but think of this passage today. John says, when Jesus, at the end of Jesus's life, where is he going to live? He says, the Spirit's going to come. He's going to dwell with you. He's going to be with you, and we will come to him and we will make our home with him. So where is God's home now? It's just as interesting a question, and it's inside the believer. So here's the prayer for today. Lord, I want you to dwell here. I want you to illuminate here. I want you to shine your great light here in my life. I don't want you to go anywhere else. Welcome home. Whether you're a new person and Jesus is new to you, or you're a crusty old believer, let us say, join me today and say, Jesus, you are welcome to live here. I'll see you tomorrow.